We generally stop there, but let's keep reading. And I will rebuke the devourer for your sakes, and he shall not destroy the fruit of your ground, neither shall your vine cast her fruit before time in the field, said the Lord of hosts. Don't stop there. Keep reading. And all nations shall call you blessed, for ye shall be a delightsome land, said the Lord of hosts. So let me walk through that, okay? Let's walk through that. Listen what it says. Will a man rob God? You can only rob a person of what belongs to them. So God have claimed 10% of the earth increase. So the tithe belongs to God. It's not yours in the first place. Now, tithe is 10%. I know people want to say you can tithe 10%, and some say you can tithe 50%. No. You can only tithe 10%. A tithe is 10% of your increase. Now, why am I saying increase? Back in those days, they did a lot of bartering. So they didn't have coins all the time. So they tithe of their increase, whether it's of their animal or whether they were farmers and they planted. That's why in Matthew 23:23 it talks about you tithe with your mint and your cumin. I mean, a very small leaf. He said, but there's other things you've left undone. But today we work on a money system. Very few people barter now. And so your tithe is 10% of your increase. It is God's. That's why he says, will a man rob God? You've robbed him of God's tithes and offering. A tithe is what he expects. An offering is what you hope he receives. You see, in the modern day, your offering can be more than your tithes. Let's say I got some land in Hillsborough, and I sell it, I'm just making up figures, I sell it for $100,000. That means that I owe a tithe of $10,000. But if my wife and I have actually nothing really to do with the money, we could give an offering of $20,000. So your offering can be more than your tithe. Tithes and offering. So he says, as a result of you not bringing your tithes and your offering, ye are cursed with a curse, for ye have robbed me, even the whole nation. Now the curse is not on your life, the curse is on your finance. Your money cannot go as far when you have robbed God of his portion. So let me explain it to you. Let's go a little further there, okay? He said, so you are cursed with a curse. Look at verse 10. Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in my house, and prove me now herewith, saith the Lord, if I will not open the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. See, let me talk about the tithe. The tithe was used by the Levites when when they stopped being a nomad people and was settled in Israel, and the land was assigned to them by tribe. There was one tribe that received no land, and that was the Levites. And so the Levites sustained themselves. Their inheritance was a tithe from all of the other tribes. And what the Levite was to do with that tithe, they were to take care of the synagogues and the temple, but they also had a responsibility of taking care of the widows and the orphans and the poor and the strangers. They also took care of their own family. So they did have land to live on, but they didn't have land to make income from. I want you to hear what I'm saying. They used their land for their families because the Levite was a tribe. You see, every Levite is not a priest, but every priest must come from the Levitical tribe. And so the tithe from the other tribe were brought to the Levite, and the Levite themselves had to tithe 10% of what they had. So the Levites was not exempted from the tithe. No one was exempted from the tithe. But they also had a responsibility. Now listen, you'll find this same responsibility in Matthew's. Matthew says that what we're going to be judged on at the end of our lives is that I was hungry, did you feed me? I was thirsty, did you give me drink? I was naked, did you give me clothing? I was sick, did you visit me? I was in prison, did you visit me? That came from the Old Testament because they were responsible for more than just the church building and the services that went on in the church, but they were responsible for society. They were responsible to take care of the poor. So let me get back to the tithe. And so what he says now, to see to it that there's food in my house. I want you to get this as it says, bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in my house, and prove me now Herewith saith the Lord of hosts, if I will not open the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. What he said, take the task. If you don't think tithe work, take the task. Prove me wrong. He said, prove me wrong. Go and tithe and prove me wrong that if I will not open the windows of heaven and pour your blessing out, listen to me now, that you will not have room enough to store it up. And what happened? We stopped there. That's where we stopped. But let's go further. Everybody just wants the blessing and more than they can. No. There's a message in this proclamation to the people from the prophet Malachi. So let's go to the next verse. And I will rebuke the devourer for your sake, and he shall not destroy the fruit of your ground before time. In other words, your apple trees will not rot out before it's time. They will not be covered by insects that will kill all the plants before time. In other words, he'll take the devour off of what you have. Your car will last longer than your neighbor's car. Your Maytag washing machine will last longer. You will have less troubles at your house because the devour will be taken off of the fruit of your ground, of your increase. Now listen to the other part. Now listen to what he says. And not only do that, he said, but your vine will not cast her fruit before time. What does that mean? If all your apples come in on the same day, you can't use them all. You got to stay up all night canning or give them away. But if your apples come in seasonally, a few at a time in a few weeks, you can benefit from the apple tree. In other words, the things that God allow you to have will just last longer. Now, let me give you a modern day example. Let's just say you bought a Maytag wash machine, and your neighbor bought a Maytag wash machine the same day you bought one, right? And about 2 years later, your neighbor buy another Maytag wash machine, and yours is still operating. And 2 years later, your neighbor buy another one, and you still got the same wash machine. Let's just say you paid $200 for the wash machine. Your neighbor has paid $600 for his wash machine, and you've only paid $200 for yours over the same period of time of 6 years. So what made the difference? The difference may be simply this, that the washing machine you bought was made on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. You say, well, what difference does that make? Well, your neighbor may have bought a washing machine that was made on Monday, and so many people came in with a hangover, they didn't tighten all the bolts up. You follow what I'm saying? Or it could have been made on a Friday when everybody in such a hurry to get out, they didn't tighten the bolts up. But by Tuesday, they have sobered up, and now they're working as they have the ability to work. Now, you didn't know the difference between one Maytag and another, but the Spirit of God knows the difference, and He arranged for you. Do you understand what I'm saying? See, you don't always see the blessing. It's not like a dollar for a dollar. You see, if it's a dollar for a dollar, then people would come to church instead of going to Tunica, Mississippi and gamble. You know what I'm saying? It's not that. It's that you got to have faith in God. See, tithing is an act of obedience, an act of faith, and tithing is fair. It is fair for everybody to pay 10% of their income than for everybody to pay $500. You know, we have a rally. We say everybody pay $500. This one man is making $2,000 a week. Another is making $1,000 a week. You're making $500 a week, and you're asking everybody to pay $500. Is that fair? It's kind of like the pig and the chicken got together for breakfast, and so the chicken told the pigs, "I tell you what, I'll bring eggs. You bring bacon." You see, the chicken is asking the pig for a sacrifice, and the chicken was only giving an offering. So tithing is fair. If you say, well, I want everybody to pay 10%, then the person who make $100, he will bring 10. And the one who made $500, he will bring 50. And the one who made $2,000, he will bring 200. That's fair. It's of your increase. So tithing is fair. Okay, let's finish up now. So your fruit tree is going to last longer, and your fruit will not give their fruit before time. But what's the purpose of this? See, we stopped reading the fact. Listen what it says. And all nations shall call you blessed, for you shall be a delightsome land, saith the Lord of hosts. What does that mean? I'm going to tell you what it means. What it means is that Christians will become the lenders instead of the borrowers. Christians are out helping people instead of always begging. Do you understand how embarrassing it is when Christians go out and beg? Have you ever thought about it? Now listen. Now, those of you who are doing these things, don't take what I'm saying personally, okay? Churches need to do whatever they need to do to survive until they learn to tithe. Okay, so don't take what I'm finna say personally, but let me just give you some examples. This is traditional sometimes the way some churches raise money. They say, well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to sell chicken dinners, okay? That's what they decide to do. So where do we get the chicken from? Either the church going to have to use some of that fund to buy the chicken, or people going to bring the chickens and donate it to the church, right? So now you can't just sell chicken. You got to have some green beans and some potato salad. You got to have a piece of cake and some rolls, right? So you got to buy all these things. And then once you purchase all these things, or you have to go out now and sell it. Well, somebody got to stay there and cook the chicken, right? And prepare the beans and prepare the potato salad, right? Then you got to box it all up. Then you got to deliver it to the various houses, right? Now, let's just talk about you. Let's say that you come in that morning at 10 o'clock and you're there at 2 o'clock. In other words, you've been there 4 hours. Well, if they just paid you minimum wages of $7 an hour, 4 times 7 is $28. That's $28 there. And you may think your time is not important, but the most important thing you have is your time. That's $28. So you're going to buy 3 plates, and the plates sell for $10. So that's another $30. So that's $58 right there. You got to go and deliver this plate, so that's gas money that you run in your car, wearing your car all the time, delivering those plates. That's another $10. In other words, you personally have spent $70. And when you get up with everything and subtract all that you got, you didn't make but $500 over the whole deal, and you had at least 5 people there who already spent $60, and you take the 5 people times the $60, they would have been better off by paying the $60, taking that time to go visit the sick and helping people. Listen at me now. And by going out visiting and helping people, other people may come to church because this church is doing what it's supposed to do, service. Now, let me tell you about the embarrassing part. The embarrassing part is that everybody want to go to the bootlegger house to sell the chicken place because the bootlegger going to buy more chicken than anybody. So we go to the bootlegger house, and sure enough, he wants 10 plates because he going to buy them for 10 and sell them for 15. And as soon as you leave with all those plates, he's going to talk about it. He said, I'm old church folks. I don't hear from them until they get ready to sell chicken. Now, they got this God over here. They thought this God is so great, but yet when they need money, they got to come to me to support that church. Do you know how embarrassing that is, God? That's almost taking the name of God in vain. Here you are, the Almighty God, cows on 1,000 hills, and you got to go beg a bootlegger for money to support your church because you refuse to tithe. Hadn't thought about it. But let's back up. What if your church tithe? What if every member of your church tithe? It will literally blow your mind. My first experience with tithe, I was pastoring a church, and they was taking about $38,000 a year. And I was challenged to tithe. I wasn't a tither. I wasn't a faithful tither myself then. So I can teach this because I haven't always been a faithful tither. And this time I think I'm in my late 30s, maybe early 40s. And the Lord convicted me one day when I went to a workshop, and he talked about tithing. And so I decided I was going to tithe. So I came back and started tithing, right? But I tithed 10%. I was giving grudgingly. I was giving of a necessity. I only gave 10%. I took the 10% and divided it up with my regular offering and with Sunday school and with benevolent. Then I went back to another workshop, and he said tithes and offering. I said, oh, Lord, I got to start all over again. So I came back, and then I started tithing, and I started giving an offering. And eventually I became comfortable with tithing. It wasn't a burden. I wasn't doing it grudgingly. I wasn't doing it necessity. But as a pastor, I wouldn't teach tithing from the pulpit because I had heard that everybody said all the preacher wants is money. So I refused to teach tithing. And I was on my way to church one morning, and the Lord says, why haven't you taught my people to tithe? I didn't have an answer. He said, are you a tithe? I said, yes, Lord. He said, are you blessed? I said, yes, Lord. He said, what about your wife? I said, she tithes. Yeah. And your children? Yes. Well, then why aren't you teaching my people to tithe? I went to church that Sunday, stood before the congregation and apologized. I said, I want to apologize to you. I told them why I hadn't taught on tithing. I taught them tithing that Sunday. And I think I taught tithing the next Sunday. And then I challenged them the month of February. I said, I want you to try tithing for 1 month. Just try it for 1 month. Let's take this test. Let's prove. Let's see if this works. And I said, if you tithe for 1 month, not to help this church, because the church was financially stable. We was able to take care of all our obligations. I said, I want you to see how you're going to be blessed, that God will pour out a blessing, that your fruit trees will not bear fruit before time. I had 150 people enrolled. That was about 75 I saw on a regular basis. And of that, 35 signed the tithe sheet to tithe. We were taking up $800 a Sunday. For the month of February, we took up $2,800 a Sunday with 35 people going from giving regular offering to tithe. When I first told them, I told them they didn't have to give in Sunday school. They didn't have to give in the benevolent. We were going to take 10% out of benevolent offerings. Out of the tithes and put in the benevolent offering and take 7% and put in the Sunday school. But guess what happened? The Sunday school went up. The benevolent offering went up. And our regular tithe offering went up from $800 to $2,800